Dan kun je zaten 6 doen.
Hello, good morning and welcome back to Lillehammer in Norway, day 2 of action for the 3rd World Cup venue of this pre-Olympic season. And the IBSF World Cups commenced today with the women's monobob. So after a full day of skeleton on Friday, Saturday will be monobob and 4-man this afternoon because it is a double 4-man weekend. We go to Sigulda next week, which will be double 2-man. So this 1994 Lillehammer track is a relatively well-known one. Lots of teams use it for pre-season and post-season testing. It's always iced early. Start is relatively short, not too much of a big drop, so it's a real push starter's paradise here. Lisa Buchwitz, one of the strongest pushers in the monobob field, has the start record. Through corners 1 and 2, and then this little double pressure turn 3. Really important not to bleed off speed. Into corner 4, and then turn 5 leads into the big corner 6. This is over at 260 degrees. Important to get the 6-7 transition right into the upper labyrinth. 8, turn 9, and then the big left-hander at corner 10 coming up. Double pressure again. Get that release nicely into 11 and 12. That crossover is critical. Try not to hit on the exit of 13. Very easy to hit the left-hand wall. Go sideways into 14. And then out of corner 15. The final turn 16 up towards the finish line. Bree Walker, the track record holder, a 2-time winner on this track, shared the gold in the first race last season with Keisha Love. Keisha also a 2-time winner on this track. She was the first monobob winner here. Laura Nolte actually was the first monobob winner here because she won the Youth Olympics back in 2016 on this track with a monobob, slightly different from the ones they're driving now. There's Keisha Love. And just behind her, actually, Lisa Buchwitz, another regular winner. There's Bree Walker, 2 golds and a silver she's got here. Lisa Buchwitz, 2 bronzes. Laura Nolte, just 1 bronze medal. Lana Myers-Taylor, another one of the standout drivers, yet to finish on the podium here. Katie Bile has had a couple of good races in the mono. Not managed to make it onto the podium here either. Kim Kalicki, she was just chatting with, looking a lot healthier over the last couple of weeks than she was in Cortina when she was still struggling with pneumonia. She's got a field of 21 sleds. The fastest 20 go through. So who doesn't get through? Well, the push athletes, the brake women, not much to do apart from hump sleds around today. So they're having a bit of a hair-down moment. Cynthia Appiah gets our race underway. Wai Ming Ming and Enola Balati will be the next up. And then Bree Walker, Maya Voigt might be a real threat here as well. She's got an enormous start. She's clearly a very talented young driver. And then down towards the end of the field, 21 sleds, last of whom is Patricia Tanjarova from the Czech Republic. So let's see who makes it through. Race 3 of the IBSF Women's Monobob World Cup. We're in Lillehammer in Norway. Martin Haven watching the action with you as Cynthia Appiah gets us underway. The Canadian silver medalist last time out here, and that was in February of this year. 5.60 is the start, 5.58 is the start record. Now, we had a little bit of snow early this morning. It's a bit damp, it's hovering around 0 degrees. The ice has been in fabulous condition. So are we going to get start records? Might we even get track record? It might just be a little humid for that, we'll see. Absolutely glistening at the moment after the first spritz of the day. Good speed, 115 kilometers an hour, 72 miles an hour, just a whisker under. Little tap out of 13, down through 15. 76.3 miles an hour, tucks ahead under 54.23. All right, 22 hundredths off the track record, set by Bree Walker on her way to gold in February this year. So Cynthia, 5th, 6th and silver are her 3 race results here. Exit 13, get the little tap on the wall. That's the only straight on the track, effectively, heading down into 14. Runner's airborne as she gets on to 14. And then you're flying into 15 and 16. No chance to correct. A little misty inside the visor, was it? Second of our 21 starters in her 11th World Cup in Monobob is Wai Mingming of China. Has not raced here, but the Chinese athletes do tend to do pre-season here. Returned to the World Cup in Cortina. That was her first World Cup since January 2024. She was absent all last year after injured drama in the family back home. 5.69, just 900s behind Apia. Nice smooth early going, out of 4. It looks straight down to turn 5 and then into 6. 3 pressure corner, 2.5 sort of in a bobsleigh, but you've still got to deal with that pressure. She's got a nice exit. Second best speed, only 1400s back. She was 900s back at the start. She's still losing a little ground to the Canadian. At a 13, avoids the tap, avoids too much of a skid. A quarter of a second back, speed's not quite there. All of these athletes using identical sleds built by high-tech company Ixent in Bavaria. So you have your own choice of runners. The runners are the same as a 2-seat sled. And in fact, the chassis, the length of it, if you like, is the same as a 2-seat sled, but you just sit a lot further back in the monobob because there's no need to have a brake woman in there. Push athlete of any kind. So the cowl is longer, the athlete sits closer to the center of the sled. And lots of them sit further back than center to put some weight on those rear runners, stop them moving around. And it tends to be a sort of offset between fatter front runners, which spread the load further and stop digging into the ice, and narrower rear runners to give you control at the back of the sled, to stop the sled basically driving itself from the back. So Cynthia Peer with the fast time at the moment, and Wai 3100s behind her. Third off, Enola Blatti, the Europe Cup champion in Monobob. 5.70, just a whisker behind Wai. 27-year-old from Switzerland, her 3rd World Cup, made her debut in Cortina. Clearly already she's got plenty of driving ability. 1 Europe Cup, she was the runner-up in women's bobsleigh Europe Cup last year as well. Second best speed, 1900s back now, a little behind where Wai was. So Blatti with a touch more work to do. Top speed now. Don't forget, all the sleds are identical. Little tap-tap down the straight. 13 to 14, still got good speed, closing in on Cynthia Apia, 2 1500s back, okay. And she brought it down from 1900s to 1700s to 1500s of a second back. It's a nice drive in the bottom part of the track, Enola Blatti. Enola giving away a 10th at the top, only 1500s down at the bottom. That's a very good drive. Like what I see of this young driver, I think we're going to see a lot more of her over the years. The Swiss women's sliding looks like it's got a very healthy future with Enola Blatti and Deborah Annan, both young, both can clearly get a sled down the track well. See, lots of brake athletes hanging around at the bottom with not much to do. They'll be dying for it to be sunny in St. Moritz, won't they? Next up, Bree Walker, double gold medalist on this track. Second, first, and first are her 3 races on this track. 6 races here in World Cup and in the World Series that preceded it, and 4 wins. 5.60 ties Cynthia Apia for the start. Both of these drivers should be medal contenders here. Nice from 4 to 5, very smooth early on. Slender margin over Cynthia Appiah. Oh, little hard take on there. Still got speed, but is that going to rob her of it? 800's up, little late flop there as well. 1100's up, still good speed. Maybe a little loosey-goosey, but it does work for her. Into 14, little flop out of 14. See how far back she sits to just get that great shot of the hands working. Across the line, new track record. Pierre Luder's already whistled out of shot there. That's a shame. I would like to see Pierre Luder's with a big smile on his face. 53.86. So she's beaten her own track record of 54.01. 1500s quicker. Well, everybody was expecting records to fall. This track has been on near record pace even when they were pushing off not at race pace in training. I think she found the ice a little quicker than it was on the final day of training. Again, see how far back she sits. She's almost literally over the rear axle. Nice run from Brianna Walker. Okay, gauntlet thrown down. Now then, Maya Voigt, Youth Olympic gold medalist in 2024. That's in the women's monobob. She won both the qualifying races here in the run-up to the Pyeongchang Games. She's had 3 Europe Cup races here as well. And with the geographical proximity to Denmark, I'm sure that she spent more time than that on this track as well. She's a big starter, 5.64, and she can drive. Well, the Danes with this monobob program, they've got men and women skeleton. I'm sure there is a male bobsleigh program under development as well. The Danes suddenly igniting their winter sliding program. Second best speed, 1500s back, so hovering around where Cynthia Appiah is. Very close indeed to the Canadian. I think Maya Voigt has a really decent shot at a medal here. Ooh, little skiddy, 13 down to 14. Nice through 14, good exit into 15. Keeps the speed alive, second best speed. Does she get ahead of Appiah? She does not, 4/10 back. 300s behind Cynthia Appiah. That's a very good opener. So 54.26. And Cynthia Appiah with a 54.23 is just a whisker ahead. Drops in late. The grooves here run long. Again, out of 13. Little square tap, didn't quite come off square. She recovered nicely into 14. Lisa Buchwitz, our World Cup champion, bronze medalist here last year. Not last year, yes, 2 bronze medals she's had in 3 starts here. 5:55 start record, so Bree Walker's beaten her own track record, and Lisa Buchwitz has beaten her own start record by 300s. So she's in the green over Brianna Walker. 500s faster at the start, 600s up. Buchwitz again. Somehow it seems a little bit hard to remember that in 2022 she was a bush athlete, and yet she will go to the 26 Games as an absolute medal contender in monobob especially, but also in women's bobsleigh. So her driving has really developed fast. Just 200s back. She needs a track record to take the lead. She's not going to get there. 1400s back, ahead of Cynthia Appiah, second place. Little untidy below the labyrinth. It doesn't take much. This track was absolutely riddled with dead heats. 2-way heats, 3-way dead heats, all the way through yesterday's skeleton races. Out of the blocks, she absolutely starts a monobob like a brakewoman. with all the power that you want on the back handles. Runs it really long here as well. Maier Voigt was in several steps earlier, and she's no slouch at the start. Just a little late on there, having to work a fraction hard in a couple of corners is all it takes. But Lisa Buchwitz in the hunt. Austria's Kathi Beil, 6th place here last year. She's been 11th, 13th, and then last race in 6th in February of this season. And in fact, 6th position equals her World Cup best. She's got a couple of top 6 finishes in mono. 5.65, only a 10th behind the brand new start record. Kathi Beil starting really well this season. She definitely drives well. Monobob not really her favourite. She prefers the 2-seat sled. Some drivers in the men's field like the 2-seater, some like the 4-man better. It's just the way it kind of appeals to you. Nice looking run so far. In with a shout for the medals. 2nd best speed, just 1100s back. She's ahead of Lisa Buchwitz, but that's a very late exit out of 13. And that is going to really take the speed out of the sled from 1700s back. Where does she come at the line? 2800s back. Yep. 13, very late exit. Oh, she was up on Cynthia Appiah as well. Now 2800s back. She is ahead of Cynthia, but she was closing in on Lisa Buchwitz. Nicola Pichler, her brakewoman there, helping with the sled. Late height here on the exit of 12, the crossover into 13 on high, and the second pressure coming back up. Watch the sled dip, and then centrifugal force pushes it up again, and very late off, really fell off the end of 13. That would have been an adrenaline spike. Katie Humphries, our Olympic monobob champion. Had a year off a couple of seasons ago to have her baby Alden. So, didn't race here last year. 2 years ago, she finished in 8th place. A 4th and a 9th place finish so far this season. 5.74 getaway. Still building her strength back at the start. And there's no question at all that on the starter's track, she's going to have to really drive, as we know she can, to remain in contention. Into the labyrinth, 4th best speed, and still trying to undo the start deficit to the fastest athletes. From 8th at the start, up to 7th, up to 6th. 2nd best speed from Katie Humphries. Absolutely flying now, still top 3 speed. From 6th up to 5th position on the splits, 4th at the line. 54.20. Well, she might be disappointed still that she's not as fast as she would have been, but that's great driving. Started 8th, finished 4th. She was 1400s back at the start and only 3400s down at the bottom. So she too ahead of Cynthia Appiah, and only 600s behind Kathi Beil. Well, she may not get a medal here today, but for Katie Humphries, the focus is all on defending that Olympic title in February in Cortina. And she was 4th in Cortina, her first race back of the season. Now for Melissa Lott-Holtz of Canada, the 32-year-old, her 11th Monobob World Cup. Eagles, last week her best mono World Cup result, 7th place finish, 5.66 getaway, top 6 start. Starting just 600 slower than Brianna Walker. That gap continues to open up to 1400s. Whoa, very late. Very late, 6 to 7. It's a nice clean exit out of 13. All the way along the wall, really dragging speed out of the sled. A couple of late flops as well. And across the line she comes in 7th place, 54.28. Speed down at the bottom there, 76.7 miles an hour. Absolutely flying. It may be one of the shorter tracks, Lillehammer, but there is speed, there is pressure to allow you to handle that speed as well. And for athletes who learn how to drive in Calgary or in Innsbruck, this is really their kind of a track, because this is a proper gliders track. You've got to carry that pressure start speed all the way down. You can't wrestle the sled. And that big transition, the sort of violence of it, that's all taking energy out of the sled. And the same here, like Kati Bile, a bit of a late flop off 13. Not as late as Bile, but she did. That sled just kind of seemed to be stuck to the wall. Nearly halfway through our field. 10th of 21 starters is Melly Hasler, European silver medalist here in February. 9th, 4th and 4th her World Cup results in Lillehammer. 5.64, starts a whisker quicker than Melissa Lott-Holtz. Touchwood, she said her back is feeling a lot better still. So she's had a couple of back problems over the last couple of seasons, does not need that to recur on the way into Cortina. Only 800s back. This is a really good looking run. Second best speed, nice smooth exits. When you're not hearing the sled clattering around, that's very good. There's noise, is energy leaving the sled. 900s back on the leader. This could be a top 2 run. This could be second place for Melly Hasler. Nice exit out of 13, pretty square tap. 1200s back, Bookvitz is 1400s back at the line. She's got good speed. How close is she? 2/10 back, 54.06. So third place, just 600s behind Lisa Bookvitz. She's ahead of Kati Bile by 800s. They've still got 2 real medal contenders to come. That was an excellent run to open the day for Mel Hasler. Nice smooth transitions, trying to keep the speed alive. It's a bit of a hard take on. And here out of 13, littlest tap. Come away, baby, off the wall, thank you. Who's making fun off camera? 10 down, 11 to go in the first heat of the women's monobob here in Lillehammer. Bree Walker, the leader. Well, here is Laura Nolte, Youth Olympic champion on this track in 2016. Our double world champion has had a 6th, a bronze and a 5th place finish here. 5.64, starts the same as Mel Hasler. Only 400s behind Brown and Walker. Now, is this going to be a bottom end of the top 6 or a top end of the top 6 day? Only 800s back. That's a good start from Laura Nolte. Again, nice smooth crossovers, 6 to 7. Into the labyrinth, nicely on and off, 8 and 9. Out of 10. And then 12-13 crossover. Got a little late onto 13. Sled drags itself down the wall. Again, only 1500s back. This could be third place. Challenging Melly Hasler. No, 500s behind her, 54.11. All right. So Laura Nolte, I think like almost everybody, finding the track running a little quicker than it has been in training. And as a result, they're getting onto corners just a fraction later, and the sled carrying more speed. So you have to recalibrate very quickly just where you need to steer and how much. Again, that late height in 13, the second pressure, dealt with it well. 12th of our 21 starters in Lillehammer, Margot Bock, the 26-year-old Frenchwoman. 8th place to start the season in Cortina, a World Cup best equaling run. She was 12th in Innsbruck, another track where the start really defines the finish. And she is a driver who absolutely outdrives her start. She'll often start sort of 12th to 15th, come down 8th to 10th. There you go, 5:75 start. So 1500s behind Brianna Walker from the get-go. Little tap early on. You really need to avoid those to try and carry your precious start speed down. She's not the tallest of athletes, so she's pushing a slightly heavier sled than most. What you want is for the sled and the athlete to be at maximum allowable weight, because gravity accelerates you faster that way, because we're not in a vacuum. Little rub down the wall. Top 10 run ahead of Wai Ming Ming, ahead of Inola Blatti. Second best speed at the bottom, ducks ahead, and it's a 54.34. So she is ahead of Inola Blatti and Wai Ming Ming. 12th at the start, 10th at the finish. Look at the upper runners there as she comes out of 13. No separation from the ice, so she was bringing it down nicely. But again, a little bit like Laura Nolte, the nose of the sled just sort of was glued to the wall. That's just the way they break sometimes. Again, sitting a long way back. There's Margot. And here is another challenger for a medal. Our reigning world champion, 2 World Cups, 2 gold medals on this track. She missed the second race last year as the US team went back to spend an extra week practicing for the World Championships, which was valuable because she won it. 5:57, 200ths off the new start record. That's inside the old start record of Lisa Buchwitz. And again, Keisha, brakewoman turned driver. What a young star they have found in this woman. 28 years of age. In the 22 games, she was on the back handles of the sled. She is going to be an absolute front runner in the battle for the gold, particularly in the mono, but in the 2-seat sleds as well. Just 1500s back. Speed maybe not quite what it ought to be. Oh, and a little hard out of 13. And that is going to drop her down the order as well. 2400s back. Something like 3.5 tenths at the line. Nearly 4.5 tenths, 54.29. So Keisha in 10th place behind Melissa Lottholtz by 100th. Behind Maya Voigt in 8th by 300ths. Behind Cynthia Appiah in 7th by 600ths. This is a very tight track. Why is a shorter track closer in terms of racing? Well, think of the separation between athletes in a 100 meters final compared to a 200 meters final. The shorter the distance, the harder it is to make a difference. And that's the same here. Again, great view of Keisha sitting well back in the sled, not quite as far back as some. Plenty to think about for the second heat. And the third of our Canadians, Kristen Bujnowski, the Buj, first time ever here in the front seat. I'm not sure she even raced, no, she won't have raced here as a brakewoman either. It's not in World Cup anyway. 5:64 getaway. So she has had 4 runs down this track to dial herself in. That's it. Normally you get 3 in training, or 6, 3 a day over 2 days, and you tend to split them half mono, half 2-seat sled. But because she's never raced here before, she got an extra run. So that's her total knowledge of the track. And a 5th best start, 5:64. This is actually quite a clean looking run. This is not one of those training horrors that turns up in the race. A little late off 13. 13th speed at the bottom. She's already ahead of Ming, so she will absolutely get a second heat, no question. 54.52 for Bouge. If you hear through corner 6, again, you can see all of the sled in front of her. Some of these athletes really do look like they're almost leaning out behind the back handles. Little late out of 13, and you know, we are talking fractions of a second in where you make the steer and how you make the steer. It's digesting all that information and then adapting to the different conditions. And the more experience you've got, the easier it is to adapt. Alana Myers-Taylor's got experience on her side. Olympic silver medalist, World Championship bronze medalist, mum of 2. 19th in Cortina, really frustrating weekend for her, but 8th place in Innsbruck. 5:72 getaway. Alana experimenting with the brakewoman drop-in, the leap into the sled. $1200s back at the start, 2200s back, coming out of 5 and into 6. 9th best speed. She's stemming the tide of lost time. 2900s back. Speed's not where it needs to be. Nice exit out of 13 though. Again, Alana way back in the sled. 54.44. So that leaves her in 13th place. 600s behind Enola Blatti. At the moment, China's Ming in 15th is the Lanterne Rouge. She is the last of the sleds in the order and the one who may be in danger if everybody else has quick runs. So Alana digging in to get that speed and then vaulting in over the seat. It's kind of half committed. The armpit load. That's where you get bruises on the armpits and the inside of your on your triceps. All right. Well, it'll be a different race next week when they're wrestling these things down Sigulda. Kim Kalicki, 12th place in the last World Cup here. She had 10th in the first of them. More of a step through for her, 5:79, 700s behind Alana Myers-Taylor. Kalicki starting the season looking, I'm sure feeling more wretched than she looks, but looking like she was absolutely wrung out. A couple of times in training in Cortina, actually being helped out of the sled. If it was easy, we'd all be doing it right. But she just battled on through her pneumonia. And she is looking stronger and healthier each week, which has got to be good news. 16th at the start, still 16th on the splits. A little tap out of 13 and a long skid down to 14. Is she going to slip in front of Ming? She does not. And now Kalicki may be in danger. She's not the fastest starting of the German sliders. And that has always been a bit of an issue in the mono, even when fully healthy. She still drives a sled well, though. I don't know how she does it when she's feeling so ropey, certainly as she was at the beginning of the year, or the beginning of this season, but it's coming back. For Switzerland then, their third sled, Deborah Annen, the 23-year-old, raced here in February, and that's her only time here in the World Cup. 9th place, 4th in the European Championships, and she's done 3 Europe Cup races here as well. But the Swiss use this track for pre-season because St. Moritz isn't built until late November, early December, so they have to go somewhere. They had part of the Swiss selection races here. 5.75, decent start for Deborah Annen. 1500s off the leader at the start. And she can maintain that kind of separation down the run. This could be a top 6 run. 3rd best speed. Nice smooth lines from the Swiss driver. Whoa! That was the curse the commentator. Just on a little low and left there. Gave that big first spike. But still top 4 speed. Not too bad. Meandered a bit from 13 down to 14. Taking some of the speed out of the sled. Is she going to be top 10? Not quite. 54.33. And she is 400s from Keisha Love. Keisha in 10th place. Laura Morel helping with the sled at the back. For the push athletes, the day off, quote, means lots of humping sleds around. Mind you, when you're racing, you're humping sleds around as well, so not much difference. Out of 13, nice smooth exit, got a little square tap. Sled meandered, just tapped again, but she didn't fight it. Allowed it to come back. 4 sleds to go. And at the moment, Kim Kilicki at the tail of the field. So what about Linda Waszewski of Poland? 15th World Cup of her monobob career. Finished 14th and 19th here in the 2 races in February of this year. World Cup best result is a 12th place finish. Another athlete who has the walk through, 5.72. A whisker quicker than Deborah Annen, quicker as well than Kim Kilicki. Same starting speed as Alana Myers-Taylor. So are we going to see her hovering around the top 15 as well? 1200s back at the start. 16th best speed, so most sleds have been quicker. 410s back. She's our 18th sled. She's at the moment ahead of Kim Kilicki. That wasn't bad out of 13 either. This should be enough to put her into the second heat. And across the line, 18th place behind Kilicki by 100th, and that's why you duck your head across the line. It might not have made a 100th difference, but it might have done. And if she'd been 100th quicker and tied with Kilicki, she would be guaranteed a second run. And that's why drivers duck their head. What difference can it make? Why do sprinters duck towards the tape? Because it shortens the distance they have to run. And if you duck your head out of the final corner, you might save 100th of a second. You might not. It might not be that much. But you don't want to miss the second heat by 100th because you didn't duck your head. Now, all the other bits of the run always combine, but that's an easy one to do. Next up, Ying Qing of China. Finished in 14th place in the last race here. She's done all 3 World Cups, 7th back in 24's race, and then 18th and 14th last season. 5.71, decent start. Keeps her in the mix. 1100s behind Brianna Walker. Teammate Y is in 16th place. And as ever, the battle between the teammates will be a hopefully friendly but reasonably fierce rivalry. The fundamental rule being that if you can't beat your teammate, you will never win. Nice exit out of 13. Really carrying the speed well down at the fast bottom part of the track. Smooth through 14 and 15. 54, 57. Well, she kept as much of the speed as she could down there at the bottom. 17th place. And how does that stack up against Y Ming Ming? Y is in 16th, 3 whole hundredths of a second quicker. See the bouncing over the expansion joint in the track there. Just a fraction late on the exit from 6, and that's the transition into 7. Decent looking run. So plenty to play for in the second heat. 2 sleds to go. Next up for Great Britain, 29-year-old Adele Nicol. 15th World Cup for her. She's been 15th, 16th and 9th here in Lillehammer. So Lillehammer and Eagles have been her World Cup best results. Blew her knee out pre-season. Good load. 575. She's starting to really build some power back into her starts. Adele drives well too. So let's see what she can produce. 1500s behind at the start. From 17th already up to 16th place on the splits, so she gets to corner 6. Nice 6-7 transition. Rolls nicely out of 7 into 8. Skirts through into 9. Corner 10. Losing a little bit of ground. Out to 18th place. So behind Yingqing of China, ahead of Kim Kilicki. Now clawing her way past the Chinese athletes. Top 10 speed. Nice at the bottom. Ducks ahead. There's an extra 100. 54.49. 15th place at the line from the 17th fastest start for Adele Nicol. So ahead of Buznovsky and 500s behind Alana Myers-Taylor. Great woman Kaya helping with the sled. We saw Graham Richardson and Sean Olsen in the coach's box. And not quite the full brakewoman load, but the armpit load. Nice exit out of 13, judged well. That's what gave her that speed at the bottom of the track. So Adele Nicol is safe. So Linda Wyszewski or Patricia Taniarova. One or the other will not get a second heat. So it'll either be Poland or Czech Republic, unless they are a dead tie, in which case they'll both go through. 7 Europe Cup races here for Patricia. Her first World Cup in Monobob today, on this track at any rate. It's her 4th only of her World Cup career. Nice low heel return off the block. And in and down. 5.80, so she's got a little bit of work to do. Linda Wyszewski started 800s quicker. That is the sled that she must at least tie with. 23 years old. Nice to see the Czech program with emerging young talent coming through. Little firm onto 7. It's taking speed away. She's got to get that split on the right-hand side up to 20th. Tying for 20th is fine. 17th best speed. That's going to help. Good exit out of 13. That's going to help as well. How close is she going to be? Linda Wyszewski is 8/10 back at the line. This could be very close indeed. Does she get there? She does not. Oh. So no second heat, I'm afraid, for Patricia. And Linda Wyszewski hangs on. So Patricia Taniarova from Czechia, just a whisker shy. Not a bad looking run at all. Again, just a little bit of an early loop there. And going into 10, little tap. Extra 13. That was clean. Just a tiny skid. That's a very unfortunate tap and skid. So not quite the speed she needed to make the second heat. And that is the first of our heats completed. So Patricia Chanurova will have to watch what happens from the sidelines. But the focus will be on Australia's Bree Walker, a two-time race winner on this track. She has the lead after the first of our two heats in the Monobob World Cup. So a new track record and a new start record for Lisa Bukvitz in second place, 1400s back. Mel Hasler in third ahead of Laura Nolte, Katie Bile and Kaylee Humphreys. Top six. Cynthia Peer, good early run for seventh. She was the bronze medalist here, a silver medalist here last year in the final race. And that is how the rest of our top 20 shake out. Lana Myers-Taylor 14th, Adele Nicol 15th, Kristen Bujnowski 16th, all very close together with Y and Ying Qing as well. And then Patricia Chanurova, unfortunately not making the second heat. But you can join us as we return. We'll be back at 11 local. That's 10 GMT, 0500 Eastern, and that is in 43 minutes from now.